Hello, it's Beverly with the Intuitive Interior. I cannot believe that it's August already. It is August and it's time for the I Ching reading. And this is another one of those months where a fourth card decided to pop out. It makes sense because we're in the middle of the Yang Water Tiger year. Well, in Chinese astrology, there is always a conflict animal. So there's so the opposite on the directional chart of this is monkey. Well, guess what? August is the monkey month. So not only is it a monkey month, but it is the opposite of the yang water. It is yang earth. So we now have a waterfall energy hitting a mountain range. So think kind of the Grand Canyon, think kind of, just, what happens when that all meets up, just the elements. And then you have tiger and monkey both irritating each other. So yeah, August has always promised to be an interesting month. This is simply a very interesting combination. So let's go ahead and continue with what I pulled for this particular card reading. The first one I've got here is number 11. It's peace. I want you to take a look here. You got the mountain here and the nice calm waters here. That's great. And that's going to work out for some people. But what we have here on this hexagram, we've got the Qian hexagram here, which is yang metal, with the Kun trigram rather on top. That's yin earth. So you've got yang metals like a container, and then yin earth is that dreamy ethereal like dust, soil, some sand. So that's what that's means and symbolizes. Now this, the words underneath here are harmony, balance, perfection, equipoise, a sense of well-being, favorable conditions, and expansion. The focus line on this was number 6. And so if you look here, it goes from the bottom to the top where it's got a broken line. The fact that it's a broken line and that's the focus line, that means that this is an internal job this month. So for the little reading on the specifics on number 6, it says, accepting the situation without fighting it or bemoaning your fate requires self-discipline and maturity. Put your energy into strengthening meaningful relationships and pay greater attention to areas that you have neglected in either your relations with others or your own well-being. Now, again, because this is that top line, this again to me symbolizes that it's really more about getting congruent with what brings you peace. How do you recharge yourself? Where have you left your peace? At the grocery store, the bus station? I don't know. Maybe you forgot it somewhere, and you've allowed other external sources or situations to steal your peace. It's time to bring it back. When I was reading the main body of this particular card explanation, it reminded me of that Chinese fable about the farmer who had asked his son to bring the horses and their horse in from the pen. Well, the son lost control of the horse and it ran away. All the villagers came back and said, oh, so sad. This is so terrible. What bad luck. And the farmer's like, good, bad, who can tell? Maybe. Suddenly the next day, the horse comes back and it has this really beautiful stallion coming with it. And so now suddenly the villagers are all saying, oh, wow, what great luck. This is fabulous. Farmer goes, yeah, maybe, perhaps. The next day, I think you might have already heard this, but just in case you haven't, the son tries to ride the stallion and gets bucked off and breaks his leg. Oh, what bad luck. Good, bad, who can tell? Why my Chinese farmer suddenly sounds Jewish, I don't know. Please forgive me. Who can tell? But then the following week is when the Chinese government comes through and begins conscripting all of the able-bodied young men. Chinese farmer's son can't go. He's got a broken leg. Good, bad? Who knows? So using that kind of as your basis for this entire month, there will be a lot of things that are going to come by to try to steal your peace. And your job, should you choose to accept it, is to not let it. See if you can't maintain that equipoise. It's a great fancy $10 word, like my dad used to say. But it really is that, trying to stay balanced, stay in the middle of it all. The next card that came out was number 41. This is decrease. We've got this, this is the hexagram here. The bottom trigram is Dui. That one is the yin metal trigram. The one right on top of that is Gun. That is yang earth. So we now have what looks like the fall. We've got the waning moon. We've got the tree beginning to lose its leaves. It still is, there's still some vibrancy going on there, but it is about decreasing of the, going into a yin season. This focus line was number 5. That says, you might be wondering why everybody else seems to be suffering so much from the need to simplify or cut back, while you find the same circumstances to be refreshingly in tune with your own inner rhythms. If so, celebrate your good fortune and do what you can to help others look at the rainbows rather than fixate on the clouds. With all the talk globally about recession and the fact that, certain retailers have over purchased, I mean, did they really, or did they just finally get here, months after the demand was there? I mean, so yeah, probably. Anyway, that actually happens. It's really part of the ebb and flow of the natural order. So again, coming back to this card and the words, it's decline, cutting back, frugality, contraction, letting go, less is more, resourcefulness, and a sacrifice. Now, what sacrifice? I don't, that's not necessarily, that always has a kind of a negative connotation. But this is asking us to look at our words. Is this really a sacrifice? Or are we just simply needing to cut back? I mean, think about the tide. It comes in and it goes out. It's like the pendulum. It goes in and then it goes out. We cannot constantly be in that yang growth phase. We have to have those periods of yin to recharge. Think about night and day. We need the nighttime to recharge. You sleep too much, that's a bad thing. You sleep too little, that's also a bad thing. I think there's one piece that, again, going back to that story of good, bad, who can tell? As we are all coming out of the pandemic, we've now had a year of where many people have been back to their regular routine. I've talked with way too many people about their wonderful revenge travel experiences. That's awesome. It's also then when you come back, you need to settle back in and recharge so that you can come and go again. Now, all this is great, thinking about, okay, we're going to have this peace. We're going to have this time where things are kind of cutting back, because this is line 5. that line 5, again, it's a broken line, which means that it's the internal process. The the piece where it was, again, so okay, depending on where the broken line is, the piece being that's going to be more of an external way of doing things. So you might actually have to go someplace to find the piece, to go talk to your friends that help you calm down, etc. This is definitely about reframing your version of what does it mean to cut back. Are you, and what does it mean to take that yin time? This one comes up usually when there's crazy things about, not crazy things, a lot of potentially anxiety producing things happen. This trigram, or the hexagram here, is number 29, the abysmal. Both of these are the Kan water trigrams. And when you have double water like that, I mean, again, waterfall, remember, we're Yang water tiger year this year. So waterfall, all this means is deep emotion, things getting cleaned really quickly, things getting flushed away really quickly. That can be a good thing. It can feel like it's a bad thing. Who knows? Who can tell? But it does mean that this is a card. This card comes up usually when it's a warning that it's time to, again, really ground, get very clear about what we still want to have in our worlds. The words on here is danger, insecurity, overwhelm, unpredictability, hazardous conditions, dark emotions, facing fear, and courage. So again, those last 3 are the ones that I'm really feeling very strongly that is going to be what's up for a lot of folks. The dark emotions. We have to look at our shadow. When we try to push down on some of the negative things that have happened to us, that perception of negativity, the secrets. They always say you're only as sick as you are, as your secrets are. When you're holding on to something, it will come back. It will make you look at it. Recently, I had an experience where I got to revisit a situation that I'd always felt bad about. And I don't think the other person really knew that that's really what was going on. But in my mind, it gave me an opportunity for a redo. And being able to take that chance and behave in a different way was such a gift. I know it was uncomfortable for the other person too, but it was very healing. But that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, this abysmal, getting really deep into those emotions. So if people are really afraid of looking at their shadow, this is not going to be a pleasant month for you. Just, yeah. Line up some energy workers, line up some therapists, line up somebody to help you with EMDR. I don't care what you do. Find your friends who are willing to tell you the truth, because that's what we all need. We all need to take a look at where we could be improving our communication, our behavior, our integrity. When we face that fear and find that courage, this waterfall becomes cleansing and healing instead of submerging you and keeping you pushed down. Now, because that line is number 2, and again, number 2, so this one is definitely going to be, it's going to be some kind of an external situation that's going to force you to take a look at those things. So let's see, where did that go? Number 42. Oh, there we are. The pages decided to stick together. They wanted to be friends together, but I need to read them. So line number 2 says, once we've been stripped of whatever it is that must be taken away, we are vulnerable. Oh, wait. I'm reading the wrong one. Pardon me. Back up. No wonder it was sticking. It was the pages going, nope, wrong one. It's number 29. So number 29, the dramatic, this is it, there you go. The dramatic gesture is not always the most effective one. Sometimes the best way to surmount a danger is to take small, careful steps one at a time. It might seem ponderous if you're the impatient type, guilty, but slow and deliberate progress is much more satisfying than banging your head against the wall, even if you could manage to do it with panache. So turtle energy versus rabbit energy. Monkey energy right now, that's the challenge, because again, monkey energy tends to be really playful and kind of impulsive and not necessarily prone to patience and deliberation. We're going to have to figure it out. All right, so the final card, the one that just jumped right out at me, is number 24, the turning point. This one, again, I believe jumped out largely because, as I mentioned earlier at the very beginning of this video, it is the exact opposite. Well, not the exact opposite, because I guess the exact opposite would be a fire month. But we've got this Yang Water Tiger year meeting with the Yang Earth Monkey month. It is the what do they call it? The immovable force meeting the immovable object. There's going to be hard redirect. And I've used the analogy before about with these type of conflict animal situations. They're not always bad. Because if you think about sandpaper and wood, it really depends on the resistance of the situation. Sometimes that sandpaper can be really fine grit. It can just take that wood to gorgeous sheen, absolutely marvelous. Or there can be more resistance, and it can be the heavy duty grit that really takes off that part of that wood. How much are you resisting change? That's the question. So you go back through those cards that I just talked about. There are a lot of internal discussions, a lot of being open to, well, maybe this change is actually a good thing. Maybe, who knows? It's going to come to a head this month. And so the turning point is return, the start of a new cycle, right timing, regeneration, inevitability, and steady improvements. The right timing piece can feel elusive because there's you never know exactly what's the right time for anything. The focus line on this is number two. By the way, this is Zhen on the bottom. That is Yang Wood with Kun, Yin Earth on the top. So it is really about that new shoot of like a new plant pushing up through the soil and create, just that driving force. Is that there is something that wants to be birthed in you, and this month is quite possibly the caterpillar goo month. Only you know what's going on in there. Yeah, so that is there. Now, what that particular line 2 says is it says that it's important now to spend your social time with those who support your sense of inner harmony, self-acceptance, and receptivity. When you have a choice, it will likely be more beneficial now to choose the gentle and calm in preference to the wild and reckless. Again, that's largely because that little tiny shoot, that it's new life, It's very delicate. And whatever is trying to birth in you, protect it. Be nurturing. Don't try to, gather your eggs before they're laid. So again, going back to the right timing, I'm just going to give you a few dates here that I haven't done in the past, but because this is such a really big pivotal month, there are several dates that to pay attention to. And by the way, this Yang Earth Monkey month doesn't actually start until August 8th, not August 1st. So see, I'm not late, but it starts on August 8th. I'm giving you this early so that you can kind of plan your days a little bit more. But it goes until September 6th. So this takes us all the way through Labor Day. And very shortly thereafter, we've got a Mercury going retrograde. So all kinds of opportunity to revisit things. Yeah. Anyway, looking at my Tangshu calendar, I have looked and evaluated the dates that are the tiger dates as well as the monkey dates. Those are the ones that are the squishiest. Again, when there's a tiger match, that's kind of like a spotlight. It can feel uncomfortable. It can also be great. Depends on what your personal capacity is for handling those kind of, well, real heavy duty spotlight moments. Some people really like it. Some people absolutely hate it. But when you've got the monkey date, just expect the unexpected. Just expect the unexpected. Go into it with this base of curiosity. But here are the dates that I'm going to strongly encourage you that if you're not particularly up for that, if you really don't want to push your luck by any chance, stretch of the imagination, it's going to be August 11th, 17th, 23rd, 29th, and September 4th. The biggest date that personally I'm planning on kind of staying in and not really doing much of anything. Maybe I'll just go book a spa day or something, or maybe I'll just stay home and read, is the 17th of August. The reason why is that is the Yang Water Tiger Day of the Yang Water Tiger year. And that's just a lot of energy. But if you have been trying to break a bad habit or stop a particularly cruel thought process, mental thought process, that's also the day. So if you've been waiting to quit smoking or quit drinking or change up your diet or start an exercise plan, the 17th, that is going to give you all the momentum and push that you need to make it stick. I hope this helps. I really want to, again, encourage everybody to watch the negative self-talk this month, to make sure that you keep an open mind no matter what happens. And anything that does happen, look at it from a place of curiosity and see, what is this trying to teach me? What gift is there for any of these circumstances that where's the gift? Because if you find a big pile of poo, chances are there's probably a pony around somewhere. All right, have a great one. Enjoy the rest of your August and September, and I'll talk to you next month.